Hello, welcome to TFT Live. My name is Adam Wainwright, and I'm being joined by Stavros Katsantonis, who was just drafted by the Hamilton Tiger Cats Thursday night with the 36th overall pick of the CFL draft. Stavros, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Um, just begin by telling me uh, what your emotions are feeling like right now after being drafted last night.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was for sure, a dream come true. It's always been my thing as a young kid. In kindergarten, whenever I'm sure you had the same experience when it was career day, and it was what did you want to be? My thing was a professional football player. That's the thing I said. May have gotten a few laughs, but I've never faltered from that throughout this whole process since I was a kid, and to hear my name get called and be part of an organization is just, a real dream come true. A little bit of a weight lifted off the shoulders. Obviously, I still got to go out there and perform, but, just overall a dream come true, something awesome to experience with, myself and my family.
And you're going to be moving to the complete other side of Canada, to Hamilton. The Tiger Cats have a very good fan base, a newer stadium, probably the best uniforms in the CFL. Looks like a great situation. But what do you know about the situation over there? What do you know about the city, and what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, definitely. So, Hamilton, I've been there probably two times in the past few years. That in 2016 and 2017, that's where our All Canadian banquet was held. I was All Canadian both those seasons and was able to go out there. The league took care of that. The Canadian Football League of the Canadian College Football League took care of that in terms of expenses. So I got a free trip out there. Got to experience Hamilton, the city. It's I think about half an hour, just about northwest of Niagara Falls, and then about another half hour south of Toronto. So, you're smack dab in the middle, blue collar, steel town city. Just a very beautiful place. Got a chance to check out Tim Hortons Field when I was there. So, I got to experience that kind of up close in person. Be like, wow, this is a pretty cool stadium. It's for the most part brand new, and the fans there are just second to none in the CFL. And I've already been welcomed by a bunch on social media, and it's just been cool to just be welcome to the family. And I'm excited to be a part of it in terms of the situation. I don't know if you're familiar with kind of how the CFL works, but there's a Canadian ratio, so each team has a certain amount of Canadians that have to be on the field, on both offense and defense. So in Hamilton, they start a Canadian or a national free safety. So I'll be going in there to compete with two other starters and veteran guys that are there. So just looking to go and learn from them and trying to get on the field as quick as I can, whether it's at that free safety position or some other defensive back position on the field. Is kind of going to be my goal. But I'm just excited to be a part of the Hamilton Tiger Cats organization, and that they took a chance and believed in me as an athlete and as a person. I just couldn't be happier.
I want to backtrack a little bit to your high school days. You didn't receive any D1 offers. You went up to Canada. Can you tell me what led to you going to the University of British Columbia?
Yeah, for sure. So, like you said, coming out of Liberty High School, unfortunately, didn't receive any Division I offers. Had a few Division II and III offers, but just was still researching some different things. I had been offered a walk on at the University of Washington, and up until probably about the end of my senior year, that's where I was going to go. I'd taken my visit up there. Really beautiful place up in the Pacific Northwest, and then being of Canadian citizenship since I was a kid. My dad was born in Edmonton, Alberta, came down to Bakersfield College. That's a whole nother story, but met my mom there, and that's how I kind of ended up in Bakersfield. But he actually had attended a Canadian university, won a national championship, also something that I was able to do in my first year, just, something that runs in the family was a pretty cool thing. But he had reached out to his former alumni. The head coach at his former alumni University of Calgary had transferred to the University of British Columbia, Coach Blake Nill. He sent my film up to him, and kind of from there it was history. They offered me a scholarship, and it was a few hours north of Seattle. So in terms of scenery, it wasn't really that hard to make a decision in terms of getting your school paid for and going up and playing some football up in Canada. So obviously a new game in the Canadian rules, and that was definitely a learning curve. But I wouldn't change my decision at all. I've loved every minute of it.
yeah, you talked about winning the Vanier Cup. That was in your first year, correct?
Yeah, back in 2015. Awesome season.
All right. So yeah, talk a little bit about your dad won it in 1988. So talk about yours and your family's reaction during that time for you to win it as well.
Yeah, definitely. We were just, coming off obviously a Cinderella season. We weren't projected to win it at all. Obviously, it was a rebuild year with a new head coach, new coaching staff. So, we were expected to maybe win 2 or 3 games. Ended up going 6-2 in the season, and then, going on this run towards after our bye week, and didn't lose a game. Took it all the way to the national championship, and from in that game, it was just a battle. We played the University of Montreal. They had some really good guys on that team who are currently in the CFL. One of them who will be my teammate, who will know actually very well in terms of what happened that game. I had a big hit on him, and had a strip, forced fumble and recovery on him. He's running back Sean Thomas Erlington, who's an absolute baller in the CFL as a running back. But we ended up winning that game on a game-winning field goal with no time left on the clock. Got to rush the field. That whole experience was just something of euphoria that you just don't get to experience in your lifetime, very much. So to have, the way our season went, the projected of how our season was supposed to turn out, it was just something that a memory that I'll never forget with, many brothers on that football team. It was just such a fun thing to accomplish and, persevere over in terms of how that season went.
You tested positive for a banned substance in 2019. It held you out of the 2019 CFL draft, and it was something that wasn't your fault. You took responsibility for it, but talk a little bit about that mental battle and who helped you through it during that time.
Yeah, definitely. So, it was a tough time for sure. I went to the CFL Combine, done very well, was drug tested at the CFL Combine, didn't know anything at the time. And then about a week before the draft, I had been notified by I think it's the CCES, it's kind of Canada's doping agency, that I had tested positive for a banned substance. And at that point, I tried to do everything I could to kind of prove my innocence and, prove that there was a contamination involved. But unfortunately, through kind of doing my research, talking with the CCES, I was kind of notified that once an adverse analytical finding is found, you're really unable to really prove anything at that point. You're responsible for what's in your body. So even if you could prove it was unintentional, no matter what, there will be consequences. So, I had the option to either stay in the draft last year and get drafted, but be unable to register a CFL contract until this year, or I could be in this year's draft, the 2020 draft, and start with a clean slate. So just upon that, I just decided, it's probably just in my best interest to, take responsibility for this right now, learn from it. And obviously, that's what I've done this whole past year has been, a tough thing. It hasn't been easy. It was the first month of May was really hard because, you're going from that peak of about to be, complete the dream, this is what I did yesterday, complete the dream, and take that next step, and to have that all kind of taken away and fall off the mountain, so to speak, was definitely tough. So it was just kind of putting one foot in front of the other, getting back into the gym, just almost a snowball effect, right? Not really focusing on I need to put 365 days, down and do my double days and all that. It's, no, I need to put 1 day together, 2 days and 3 days, and, weeks turn to months turn to a year now. So, I'm just really thankful for that. And, back in 2018, kind of after my senior season had ended, once I started training, I was taking a few different supplements, some proteins and creatines, and, just ultimately didn't do my due diligence in researching everything that was in the label. At the end of the day, it's my responsibility. I take ownership for that. And like I said, I've learned from it. It's been an awesome year for me, both physically and mentally from that. And, kind of finding in my research after the positive test, if any supplement has a proprietary blend in the label, they don't have to list what's in that blend on the ingredient label. So, my whole thing now, as of last summer, I kind of stopped taking supplements as a whole, just for me, just being, pure athlete. I can get everything that I need from, just eating natural foods and stuff like that, eating healthy, having a clean diet. If I want to, bulk up or, get some creatine, it's just, eat some more red meat. There's tons of creatine in red meat. There's ways around that stuff. So to me, I think that just the supplements as a whole for me was just taking a shortcut. I could easily make a protein shake out of things that I had in my fridge. I didn't need to, go spend $60 on protein to do that. So for me, that's been the biggest thing that I've learned from just in terms of, this whole banned substance thing. And I mean, you can walk into any nutrition store nowadays and the shelves are full of stuff. I'm sure, when I was in high school, walking into those stores, it's like, oh, look at all this different stuff. The guy's trying to sell you, his newest and latest thing. And, it's hard as even an 18-year-old, 20-year-old to really determine what's good and what's wrong. So I just think in these past couple of years, just the things I've been able to learn with that is just something that's been really awesome. And, my whole stance on everything has changed, and just being a clean, natural athlete and moving on from that. And, I'm just excited to take the next step in my kind of chapter here and just prove that was just, a fluke thing. And that's not going to define my career or who I am as a person.
Talk a little bit more about your background here in Bakersfield. So you were a Liberty grad, but tell me about you growing up and getting into football and that whole process.
Yeah, for sure. So football, I mean, has obviously always been a part of me, since way back when I can remember. Obviously, my dad was a football player. Didn't get the chance to play professional football due to a career-ending back injury. But it was always a part of the household. My older brother played football at Bakersfield High School, won a Valley championship there in 2007. My cousins Peter and Alex Mitchell. Alex Mitchell, known for probably one of the biggest hits in Bakersfield, if you've ever seen that. So having mentors like that growing up, just really drove my my football passion. I looked up to those guys, my cousins, my brother. They were my idols because, you go to those high school games, you're playing football on the sidelines while they're playing. And it's just, one of those things where, man, I can't wait to do this. And, I think when I first started playing, I guess, tackle football I think I was in like second or third grade. And one of my best friends at the time, Jack Lundy, had kind of introduced me to tackling and had never really seen it before. So once he showed me how to tackle, I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And, that's been one of my favorite things about the game is playing tackle football. And actually, when I first actually tried out for my first youth team, I think I was 10 or 11. I think it was for the central team. I actually didn't make the team. So that's a funny thing just to look back on now. I started playing tackle football again when I was around 13, playing for the Golden Empire Fighting Irish team out there my 7th and 8th grade year. And I actually attended Garces for my freshman and sophomore year, played football there. Got moved up to the Valley team in I think it would have been 2012 or 2011, my sophomore year. And got to learn from a lot of key mentors on that team that helped me, just grow in football in terms of coaches and players. And to be a part of that, championship team was an awesome thing as well. And then, I ended up actually moving kind of out to the Liberty side of town. And, my parents just decided, hey, we're going to transfer to Liberty and, kind of start there. And it was right when Brian Nixon was coming in as a head coach. And it was just, it happened to work out really well. I ended up meshing really well my junior year, starting at free safety and moving on to my senior year playing free safety as well. Unfortunately, we lost in the Valley Championship to Edison, but, I still wouldn't trade those years back for anything. It's, I've learned so much, been mentored by so many different people, and, it's been a fun journey, fun ride, and I just can't wait to, continue everything here going up to Canada and all that stuff, and just continue to represent Bakersfield.
Yeah, and how exciting was it for you to see two of your former high school teammates last week go into the NFL, and then you go into the CFL this week?
Yeah, definitely. I was really happy for those guys. Jordan Love, Chris Barnes, guys who were on my team when I was a senior. They're just leaders. I'm really happy for them. Jordan, deserves all of it. The dude's been, grinding as a quarterback since he was, probably at my age, before I started playing football. So it's just a really cool thing to see. And Chris Barnes, another guy that I was really close with in high school. Because he was on the defensive side of the ball, so he played linebacker, and I was right behind him at free safety. So just a cool thing to see, him get signed by the Packers and see both of them on the same team. So that was really a cool thing, and I think it just speaks real volumes to the program that Coach Brian Nixon runs at Liberty. And he's put, I think that's his second NFL quarterback now that he's put in the NFL, obviously including Cody Kessler, and he's probably got about 4 or 5. Active professional football players now, maybe more than that, including all of us. So it's just a cool thing to see, those guys. And the success they're having. And, I just can't wait to see where it leads for those guys.
All right. Yeah. Up north, there's a lot of Bakersfield products in the CFL, a lot of BC graduates and a lot of high school graduates from here as well. How cool is that to see going into the CFL that these guys come from sort of a similar background as you?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I've been able to connect up with, with a few of them, Mercy Masson being one of them. Obviously, he was a Bakersfield High School graduate, played at Boise State, and was actually just on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers Grey Cup team. So he got to be a part of something special out there. And, I've connected up with him a few times, obviously, because I've been up in Canada. And then, Anthony Orange playing for, I think he's on the BC Lions right now. He's been a standpoint cornerback in the CFL for the past couple of years, along with Brandon Banks, who former Bakersfield College standout, who's been playing on the Hamilton Tiger Cats for more than a few years now, and they call him Speedy B up there for a reason, one of the fastest dudes in the CFL. So it's just it's awesome, and I'm glad to be a part of the next wave of Bakersfield natives to go into the pro ranks and hopefully make a name for myself, and just keep on, honoring the Bakersfield name.
All right. And then what kind of advice could you give to guys that were in your similar situation coming up now? There's some high schoolers looking to get college scholarships, and they're trying to go for that D1 goal as well, and it doesn't always work out. So what can you say about playing college football in Canada?
Yeah, definitely. So, for me, the biggest thing was, it all comes with a mindset. No matter where you go, whether it's D1, 2, 3, you go play NAIA, go play up in Canada, it really doesn't matter. I think the biggest thing is if you just truly believe that you can play professional football, and you train that way as well, train your mind, body, all that sort of stuff, you'll make it there. I'm a prime example of that. If you ever saw me out, walking around Bakersfield, you think, who is this average looking dude, 5'9", maybe a $190, that's what I would be looked at. But when I tell you I'm a professional football player, you'd be like, what? Like, tell me more. So it's like, you don't have to be anyone special. You don't got to be a genetic freak to play football. If you are, awesome, keep doing your thing, keep grinding. But really anyone can do this. You just got to have the right mindset. And, even in terms of playing up in Canada, there's opportunities out there. I think the biggest struggle is probably going to be that the international tuition. Just like if you were going to go out of state, it's probably around the similar, because you got the American dollar to the Canadian, so you get a little bit more there at least. But if you do go up into the Canadian college system, they kind of now implemented this past season, that if you go and get your degree from there while playing football, you become eligible for the CFL draft and you count as a CFL Canadian. So that's kind of one of the coolest things that I've been encouraging guys to do. I was able to help out and do some defensive assistant coaching work this past year at Bakersfield Christian High School. I don't know if you're familiar with how their season went, but we ended up winning the D3 California State title. So to be involved with those kids and just help, mentor them. And, obviously I'm a little bit closer in age to those guys. So to be able to help them understand the decisions, the right decisions to make. I remember I was 18 at one point and I always didn't choose the right things. And, things I wish I could have done different, or maybe just done differently, or the things that I'm glad I did, just helping those kids do that. And, teaching them, different techniques and stuff like that was something that I really valued this past year. So to anyone out there, you can do it. The only person you need to believe in is yourself. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. I always say, the more people that tell me I can't do something, it just makes me want to do it even more. So the satisfaction of being here, being able to say I'm a professional athlete is one of the biggest I told you so's to everyone that ever said, that I wasn't going to make it here. So I'm just so happy to do it. And I know, if I can do it, anyone can do it. You just got to have the right mindset.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to the people here in Bakersfield that have supported you along this journey?
Not too much. For the most part, I sport Bakersfield everywhere I go. If you ask anyone in the, in Vancouver area that I've come across, I always tell everyone I'm from Bakersfield, California. I get upset when, sometimes on some of the roster catalogs, it would say I'm from Vancouver, and I'd be like, hey, this isn't where I'm from. So, I have a high respect for being, homegrown in Bakersfield, because, we're we're a different breed over here. We're not just just any other competitive football town. We play a different style of football here, and it shows. We got tons of guys that are playing Division I football, and not just on the rosters. Like, these guys are playing, starting, making plays. You got guys all over the place in the Pac-12. Other conferences and stuff like that, playing in the NFL now. Then it just proves that talent is out there in Bakersfield, and the way we're brought up in football and stuff like that is just and in anything, not just football. I think the way people are brought up here is just to be hardworking, put your head down, and we don't complain. So just happy to be from Bakersfield, California. At the end of the day, that's what all my friends say. Why do you talk about Bakersfield so much? Is it's because I love my town. I'm proud of my town. And then this is where I'm from. These are my roots.